Hey, welcome back to another episode of House of Worth. I left you with discussing the 13th zodiac as a portal, as a door in the secret door in your house of worth. Now, you know that I create these videos in order for you to step into your higher timeline and to know your worth because of Chiron in our natal chart that represents the wounded healer. We come in with a karmic wound that we believe we're not enough. And so we're going through this journey to peel back the layers and the masks that we wear in order to step into our truth. And so today we're going to talk about the ninth house. The room that I chose is having a home library. Now, I know we all don't have the luxury of having a home library. We might just have a bookshelf or we might have an office where we keep our books. But for the sake of House of Worth, I'm choosing a home library. So I will be going through each rising sign and I will share the description of your library according to the placement that you have in your ninth house because of your rising sign. And we're going to talk about maybe the books that you would be drawn to for learning, for your higher learning, according to that zodiac sign in your ninth house, as well as any dogmatic belief systems that you have that you need to work through. So I'm going to just get right into this episode. 2026 is going to be a pivotal year for all of us, and that is because the outer planets are moving into another zodiac sign. And that means that they stay in outer planets, stay in position for a longer time than our inner planets like Mercury and Venus. And so this is the year of air and fire, but we still use all four elements because we're divine nature. But it is the year of air and fire. And so these huge transitions, like one of them will be July 26th, when the lunar nodes are going to be moving into Leo and Aquarius, which is huge because we are mastering Aquarius's energy because we are in the age of Aquarius. So we're going to be doing things differently. So that's what this is all about, is you evolving, going through the 12 gates, 12 houses in your natal chart so that you can evolve and step into this new timeline of being connected with the, I like to call it like the movie set of age of Aquarius, because the scenery is changing. We've moved out of the Piscean age, which was the age of illusion. That doesn't mean that we're not going to deal with illusion, because we still have Neptune in our chart and we still have Pisces in our chart. And Neptune will be moving along with Saturn into Aries. And so Aries is more of like a reactive, aggressive, assertive sign. So being in Pisces, where it's more like, the illusion, the imagination, now we're going to be going like taking concrete action towards what our dreams are and making a plan for it and creating the steps of where we're headed, where we're going. And so we're going to get that push from the nodes being in Aquarius and Leo. And so the big thing for the Leo energy is that Leos are the sun, and they are operating from needing acknowledgement. And when they aren't seen, they are wounded. And so they become, the personality traits of that is they become people pleasers, and everything that they do is to be seen. So it's like, it's not true authenticity. It is, how can I serve? How can I give up more of my essence, of my magnetism, because I'm operating from lack and scarcity and wanting to be seen. And because of the South Node being in Leo, what this is past um, beliefs, are past energy that we have, with needing that acknowledgement to now moving away from that, because you're not going to operate from that old self, because it's the not self. And now you're going to stand in your charismatic energy. So everybody has Leo in their chart. So you want to take a look and see what area in your life you'll be affected by Leo. I happen to be a Leo sun. So this transit is going to affect me in a big way. And I can't wait because I'm here for it. But the thing is we also have Jupiter moving into, Jupiter is in Cancer right now, but will be moving June 30th into Leo. And so not only do you have the South Node in Leo, but now you have Jupiter. So now it's like, because you're standing in your authenticity and you are standing in your worth, then you get that boost from Jupiter, who that is, he's very expansive energy. So it's like you don't have to chase to be seen anymore, which is huge because, I'm on social media. And so it's like this whole trial and error and trying to have my content be seen. It can be exhausting. And I'm just ready to just talk about the things that light me up and that I enjoy, and not trying to jump through hoops of the algorithm and getting all. It's like, if you enjoy my content, yay. If you don't, then, keep going. Is kind of the energy of Leo this year. And also, we have in Leo on August the 12th, we have a full solar eclipse, which means that Leos are going to cut things out of their life that no longer aligns, that's blocking their light. And I don't do, predictive astrology. So I'm just sharing those transits with you because I happen to be a Leo. We still have Pluto. Oh, another transit that you want to watch for is Uranus moving into Gemini. I don't have the dates with me, but Uranus is the planet of shock and awe. Uranus is the planet of electrified speed, technology. So wherever you have Uranus in your chart, wherever you have Gemini in your chart, Uranus is going to be moving in there and creating a lot of change in your life. And it's something that you have no control over. You just got to embrace it. I went back and forth about creating the look of your library. And for me, you have the aesthetics from the other videos. So I'm not really going to focus on the aesthetic of your space. From all of the videos I've done previously, I think you kind of get the gist of your Venus placement and your rising sign according to your aesthetic. So I'm just going to be moving through each rising sign without explaining or popping up a picture of a library. Okay, so let's get into um, the home library in your house of worth, right? Because everything that you do is an investment for you to show up as complete and whole, and not from the lack and scarcity from what has been projected onto you. And keep in mind all of those placements that are happening. Take a look at your chart and really connect to this huge transformational energy, because even when we talk about fire and air being predominant in 2026, fire is inspiration, taking action, being assertive. It could be aggressive. And then air is about, knowledge and your intellect and doubt and overthinking. But when it's paired with fire, it's you're moving out of that. The indecision is going to be lifted because you're going to get that boost from the fire energy. So let's just get started with Aries. Now, if you are an Aries rising, that means that you have Sagittarius in the ninth house. So your library is going to be bold, sunlit space with open shelving, travel artifacts, maps and objects collected from somewhere else. The room feels alive, slightly chaotic, and ready to spark a new quest. The books that you're drawn to would be philosophy, mythology, spirituality, travel, memoirs, wisdom traditions, big picture books, um, on meaning, big picture books on meaning and truth and purpose. Now, the dogma that you're working through is I must always be right. Learning that truth isn't something to conquer or declare, it evolves through curiosity, listening, and humility. So, those are things that you want to watch out for. Okay, moving on to Taurus rising. So if you are a Taurus rising, then that means you would have ninth house Capricorn. And your library will be grounded in elegant room with dark wood shelves, leather chairs, heirloom quality books. Everything feels intentional, curated, and built to last. The books that you would be drawn to would be history, legacy, institutions, philosophy of ethics, leadership, responsibility, ancient texts, classical thinkers. Now, the dogma that you're working through would be authority equals truth, releasing the belief that wisdom must come from established systems or titles than lived experience. So you might be one that, when somebody says that they just want to share their experience and they talk about things that they're going through, you want proof. Like, it has to come from a textbook instead of just their own experience. Okay, let's move on to Gemini. If you're Gemini rising, that means that you have Aquarius in the ninth house. So your library is going to be unconventional, airy space, modular shelving, unexpected design, mixed media. Books may be stacked horizontally, digitally, integrated, or shared communally. Now, the books that you're going to be drawn to are futurism, technology, social theory, alternative philosophies, astrology, systems thinking, radical ideas, and thought experiments. The dogma that you're working through is I must reject tradition to be free. Learning that innovation doesn't require severing all ties to the past. And I can kind of relate to that because I'm in Aquarius rising. And for me, it's like I don't, the old traditions that we have been following because we're moving into the age of Aquarius or we're in age of Aquarius. Um, we don't feel tied to those old traditions, like Christmas being one of them. We're wondering, like, why are we even celebrating all of this? So it could happen that people just get away from celebrating and create their own holidays, what they want to celebrate, how they want to connect with their family instead of the old dogma. Okay, so let's go on and move into Cancer. If you're a Cancer rising, then that means that you have Pisces in the ninth house. So that means that your library would be a soft, dreamy sanctuary with pillows, low lighting, flowing curtains, a library that feels more like a temple or a retreat than a study. Your books that you would be drawn to would be mysticism, poetry, spirituality, memoirs, sacred texts, dream work, healing, compassion, and transcendence. Now, the dogma that you're working through is all paths are the same. Learning discernment. Truth can be compassionate without being vague or self erasing. So if you feel like you have been going along with everybody and being a chameleon in your life, that is because you believe that everybody is the same, but it's not true. It's like you don't have to erase yourself and your beliefs just to fit in with others' belief systems and other ways of how other people think in their perspective. All right, moving right along, we are now in Leo. So if you are a Leo rising, that means that you have a ninth house Aries. This is the description of your library, and that is a dramatic, energizing room, statement shelves, bold art, a sense of movement. This is a library meant to inspire action, not quiet contemplation. And then the books that you're drawn to would be leadership, entrepreneurship, hero myths, biographies, self mastery, manifestation, courage, initiation. And the dogma that you're working through is my way is the way, releasing the belief that conviction must empower collaboration. So, this is one of the things that we're all working through because we're moving out of me into we in the age of Aquarius. So this is not about what I'm doing. Look at me again, Leo rising. You are going to have those nodes in your house of Leo, and you're getting away from leadership being hierarchical and knowing that we are coming together as a community moving forward together. Now let's move on to a Virgo rising. If you are Virgo rising, then you would have Taurus in the ninth house. And your library would be serene, an earthy room, neutral tones, tactile materials, plants. Books are neatly organized and frequently used and not just displayed. The books that you would be drawn to would be practical philosophy, nature, embodiment, slow living, spirituality, rooted in the body. Now, the dogma that you're working through is if it's not useful, it's not true, allowing beauty, pleasure, and mystery to count as wisdom. So you might be feeling like, just because you want to indulge in things that light up you sensually, your senses, um, you might be like saying, if it's not useful, it has to be something that I can use. You need to move away from that belief system because uh, Virgo is very practical minded, but Taurus loves the sensual things in life. Now moving on to Libra rising. If you're a Libra, then you would have a ninth house Gemini. And the library that you would have is a conversational space, chairs facing each other, annotated books, margins full of notes. This library feels alive with dialogue. And the books that you're drawn to are essays, interviews, comparative philosophy, language, storytelling, cultural studies, multiple perspectives on the same topic. And the dogma that you're working through is there are too many truths to choose. And you're going to learn to commit to a worldview without fearing loss of balance. So, Geminis have this butterfly kind of personality where they like to dabble in a lot of things. And so if you're overwhelming yourself thinking that you have to pick one thing that you love, otherwise it's not true, you're overcoming that. All right, so Scorpio rising, you would have Cancer in the ninth house, and your library would be private, cocoon like, low light, hidden shelves, emotional resonance. This is where ancestral memory lives. The books that you would be drawn to is psychology, trauma healing, ancestral history, myth, lineage, the sacred feminine, and the emotional truth. And your dogma that you're working through is my story defines reality. Learning that emotional truth is valid, but not the only lens. So, because you're feeling your way through life, if you connect to it, you say, this is true. But there's other perspectives that you need to see from other people's viewpoints. Now let's move on to Sagittarius. If you are a Sagittarius rising, then you will have Leo in the ninth house, which your library would be radiant, expressive space, statement books, bold colors, maybe even a stage like presence. The library reflects identity. And the books that you're drawn to are creative philosophy, spiritual leadership, self expression, mythic journeys of becoming. And the dogma that you're working through are my beliefs are my identity, allowing beliefs to evolve without feeling personally threatened. So, this is where Leo has the heart and can feel emotional rejection if someone doesn't see their point of view. And so, this is knowing that you're not being threatened just because somebody doesn't see things the way that you do. Moving on to Capricorn rising with the ninth house in Virgo. Your library would be minimal, precise, functional. Every book has a purpose. The space feels like a private study or a monk's cell. The books that you're drawn to would be systems of thought, health, optimization, ethics, applied spirituality. And the dogma you're working through is there is a correct way to live, and learning that imperfection doesn't invalidate wisdom. So if you have a certain way that you're doing things and there's no flexibility there, this you're moving out of that. That is to know that there's more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. I don't know why that came up. All right, let's move on to Aquarius. And Aquarius rising is the ninth house in Libra. And so your library would be refined, open space, beautiful design, symmetry, shared areas. The library feels like a salon for ideas. And the books that you would be drawn to would be justice, philosophy of ethics, art, beauty, relational dynamics, social harmony, and collective ideas. And the dogma that you are working through is peace requires neutrality, learning that true justice sometimes requires disruption. So if you're avoidant of conflict because you want to keep the peace, this is keeping you stuck in really getting to know who you are. Now let's move on to Pisces rising. If you have a Pisces rising, that means you have a Scorpio ninth house. And your library is a hidden transformative space, dark tones, candles, mystery. This library is not for everyone. And the books you'll be drawn to are eroticism, occult, alchemy, shadow work, death, rebirth, themes, truths that transform rather than soothe. And your dogma that you're working through is trust must be intense to be real, learning that not all wisdom requires suffering. So your emotional self wants to feel that transformation, and you don't have to always suffer through it. So that is what I have for you when it comes to all of the placements and the library in your home and what you would be drawn to and what you're working through. If you liked this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share it with other people, and down below, make sure you comment your rising sign and your Venus placement, and maybe I'll choose you to go in depth with your ninth house library. And I'll see you on the next video.